What would you do if the person you trusted with your future stole it? If the money your grandparents saved for your education disappeared into the hands of someone who thought you'd never fight back? I'm Emily, and this is the story of how my aunt stole my college fund, mocked me when I had nothing left, and how, years later, the truth came out at my grandmother's will reading, turning the entire family upside down. Before I begin, tell me in the comments, has anyone ever stolen something from you that you could never replace? And if you've ever been underestimated, hit that like button and subscribe to Mortal Revenge. Because what you're about to hear is a story of betrayal, humiliation, and the kind of justice you can't put a price on. I grew up in a working-class family. My parents worked hard, but money was always tight. My mom was a nurse pulling 12-hour shifts. My dad worked construction, his back breaking under the weight of every paycheck. The one thing that gave me hope? My grandparents. They weren't rich either, but they were careful. My grandfather always said, "Emily is going to college. She's too smart not to. We'll make sure of it." And they did. Every birthday, every holiday, instead of toys or clothes, they set money aside in a fund for me. It was meant for my tuition, a college fund that grew steadily for over a decade. By the time I was 17, there was over $60,000 saved, enough for me to go to the university I dreamed of since I was little. That money wasn't just dollars. It was a promise, a future, a life they wanted me to have that my parents couldn't afford. But someone else had other plans. My Aunt Karen, even saying her name now makes my stomach twist. She was my mom's older sister, dramatic, entitled, always chasing some new scheme. She married badly, divorced twice, and was always between jobs. To the family, she played the victim. Oh, poor Karen, life's been so unfair to her. But I saw the truth. She wasn't unlucky. She was greedy. She burned every bridge she crossed, always wanting more than she gave. When my grandparents got older, Aunt Karen became more involved. She offered to help with finances, since she had experience, which was laughable. But my grandparents trusted her. She was family. And when my grandfather passed away, she convinced my grandma to let her manage the accounts, including mine. The college fund, the year I got accepted into my dream university, should have been the happiest of my life. I remember the day the acceptance letter came. I ran to my mom, tears streaming down my face, shouting, "I did it!" She hugged me tight, so proud. But then came the nightmare. We went to access the fund, the account my grandparents had built for me, the account that held my future. It was empty. $60,000 gone. At first, we thought it had to be a mistake. A bank error. Something. But the truth hit fast and brutal. Aunt Karen had liquidated the account months earlier. She'd taken every penny. When confronted, she didn't even deny it. "Oh, please," she sneered, "Emily doesn't need college. She'll just get married and have kids anyway." That money went to better use. Better use? She bought herself a new car, went on vacations, paid off credit card debt. She stole my future and laughed in my face. I was shattered. I begged her. That money was for me. Grandpa wanted me to go to college. She rolled her eyes. "You're too naive to survive college anyway. Be grateful I used it for something practical." Practical? She'd spent half of it on a week in Cancun. My mom screamed at her. My dad threatened to take her to court. But Grandma begged us not to. "She's still family," she whispered, tears in her eyes. So my parents dropped it, and I was left with nothing. I had to decline my acceptance. No money meant no dream school. Instead, I enrolled in community college, working 2 jobs just to scrape by. Meanwhile, Karen flaunted her new lifestyle, parading around family gatherings with designer handbags, bought with my future. And every time she saw me, she'd smirk. "Still at that little school? Guess college wasn't for you after all." The humiliation was unbearable. I worked, I studied, I survived. Community college turned into a transfer program. I took night classes, paid every cent myself. It took me longer than most, but I eventually earned my degree. It wasn't the path I'd dreamed of, but it was mine. Meanwhile, Aunt Karen kept burning bridges. Failed businesses, failed relationships, more debt. And still, Grandma protected her. "She's had a hard life," Grandma would say. I'd bite my tongue, my chest burning with anger. But one night, not long before Grandma passed, she called me into her bedroom. "Emily," she said softly, her hand trembling in mine, "I know what Karen did to you. I never forgot. Trust me, my dear." I made sure justice would come. I didn't understand what she meant then, but I would. At the will reading, Grandma passed away a year later. It was devastating. She had been my rock, my safe place when the world felt cruel. The family gathered in her old house for the will reading. Aunt Karen arrived in her flashy car, dripping with jewelry, acting like the queen of the day. She whispered to my mother, "Well, at least now we'll all finally get what we deserve." I sat quietly, clutching the locket Grandma had given me, remembering her last words. "Justice will come." The lawyer, Mr. Thompson, opened the will. The room went silent. He began reading, voice steady, eyes scanning the room as he delivered Grandma's final words. "To my children and grandchildren, I leave my love and the lessons I hope will guide you long after I'm gone." And then, the first shock dropped. Mr. Thompson, Grandma's lawyer, cleared his throat and adjusted his glasses. The entire family leaned forward, eyes gleaming with greed. Karen especially. She smirked, already imagining herself inheriting Grandma's house. Her savings, maybe even her jewelry. But then the lawyer read, "To my daughter, Karen, for all the years I supported you through poor decisions, bailed you out of debts and gave you chance after chance, I leave $1. May it remind you that love without respect is wasted." The room froze. $1? My uncle muttered in disbelief. Karen's face turned red. "That's a mistake," she snapped. "She meant to leave me the house. She told me." Mr. Thompson calmly shook his head. This was her signed, notarized will. There is no mistake. I had to bite my lip to stop from smiling. For once, my aunt, who had stolen my college fund, who had mocked me for years and had nothing to say. The lawyer continued, "To my granddaughter, Emily, who was robbed of her future, yet found the strength to create her own path. I leave everything else. The house, the savings, the investments, because you never asked for more than love. And yet you gave me more love than anyone." Gasps filled the room. Karen jumped out of her seat. "What? That's not fair. Emily doesn't deserve any of this. She's just some nobody." Mr. Thompson handed her a packet of documents. Mrs. Thompson anticipated this reaction. She asked me to share evidence she left behind. Karen's face drained of color. The lawyer opened a folder filled with receipts, bank statements, and letters. "These are records of the college fund your parents established for Emily, records of deposits for over a decade. And here," he pulled out copies of withdrawal slips with Karen's signature on them, "proof that you drained the account without permission." Gasps turned to whispers. Family members shook their heads in disgust. Karen stammered, I had permission." Mr. Thompson cut her off. "No, you forged paperwork. Your mother never forgot. And she made sure justice would be carried out in this will." I felt my chest tighten. Tears burned my eyes. Grandma hadn't just remembered. She had fought for me. Karen lost it. "You little brat!" She screamed at me, her voice cracking. "This is your fault. You turned her against me." I stood, my hands trembling but my voice calm. "No, Aunt Karen, you did this to yourself. You stole from me. You laughed while I suffered. And Grandma saw you for who you really were." She lunged toward me, but my cousin stepped between us. "Enough, Karen. You ruined Emily's chance at college. Now you want to ruin this too? You've embarrassed yourself enough." For the first time in my life, the family wasn't looking at me with pity. They were looking at Karen with disgust. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The sound echoed like thunder. Mr. Thompson wasn't done. He pulled out another envelope. "Emily, your grandmother left you a letter." My hands shook as I opened it. "My dearest Emily, I know what Karen did broke your heart. I know it took away opportunities you deserved. But I also know you turned pain into strength. You never gave up. You made me proud every single day. This inheritance is not just money. It is justice. It is freedom. It is the future your grandfather and I always wanted for you. Use it to build the life you dreamed of. And remember, the sweetest revenge is not anger. It is success. All my love, Grandma." Tears streamed down my face as I read her words aloud. For years, I had carried the weight of Karen's theft like a chain. And now, with one letter, Grandma had broken it. Word spread fast. Family, friends, neighbors, even people from church whispered about what happened. Everyone knew Karen had stolen my college fund. Everyone knew she had been cut out of the will. Her reputation was in ruins. Creditors came after her again. She sold her flashy car, downsized her lifestyle, and disappeared from family gatherings. Meanwhile, my life transformed. With the inheritance, I paid off my student loans. I fixed up Grandma's house, turning it into the warm home she always wanted it to be. I started a scholarship fund in her name for students like me, whose futures were stolen by the greed of others. And every time I signed another scholarship check, I thought, this is what you tried to take from me, Karen. And now it's helping others instead. Months later, I ran into Karen at the grocery store. She looked older, tired, bitter. She glared at me, muttering, "You think you're better than me now?" I met her eyes calmly. "No, Karen, I don't think I'm better. I just think I finally got what was mine." And I walked away, lighter than I'd felt in years. Looking back now, I realized something. The real revenge wasn't the inheritance. It wasn't Karen's humiliation. It was the life I built in spite of her. She tried to steal my future. Instead, she gave me the strength to fight for it myself. And Grandma? She made sure justice was served in the end. Sometimes revenge doesn't come in the form of anger. Sometimes it comes as peace, freedom, success, and that's exactly what I found. That was my story. If someone has ever betrayed you, stolen something you worked for, taken advantage of your trust, share your story in the comments. And don't forget, like this video if Grandma's final act shocked you. Subscribe to Mortal Revenge for more real stories of betrayal, justice, and payback. Hit the bell so you never miss the next twist. Until next time, remember, sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't anger. It's living well while they fade into nothing.